Welcome, everybody, to Arsenal Fan Circle. It is a Sunday show, as ever, kicking off 120 seconds later than usual, than the registered time, than the advertised time, right, Gary?
Yes, sir, we are late. I'm
Are you-
sorry. That's not me. It's not Tony, and it's
We're
not
on
Lawrence.
Irish time.
That's all I'm going to say. I'm just going to lay it out there. It's
My
none of
bad.
our faults except for one, but I didn't mention him, so you can just
I
introduce.
was here 10 minutes early.
There you
Yeah.
go. See, we're all
Right.
here trying to have a professional show, and some of us,
And
got
it
other
took
things to
him-
do.
I
I do their
suppose-
hair and stuff. Who knows?
And it took
I-
Lawrence 9.5 minutes to set up right, because I don't think I've ever seen him set up right.
There you go.
Well, I'm charging my phone up as we're talking because
There
there's
you go.
like 10% on it, so that's why
Uh-oh.
I'm sitting like this.
You got your Wi-Fi fixed,
When
hopefully.
his phone's at 100%,
Yeah,
he lays down. When his phone's at 5%, he's got to sit up. It's
And by the way, let me just say, the day of rest, Sunday, I hate when people say, if you're 15, what is it? You got to be, if you're 15 minutes early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. And if you're late, whatever. I don't know what the saying is, but I obviously don't go by that, Gary. So there you go. Hey, well, there you go. Late will seem to be the thing we're going to talk about today. Some late goals happening, and did our rivals falter, Lawrence? Well, not this weekend, but it was close. How are you, Lawrence?
So you broke up. Can you say that? I'm fine, apart from the rain. It's pissing down out here in Los Angeles again.
Well, I
understand
there's snow. I understand there's snow in the Nevadas, Sierra Nevadas as well.
Yeah,
This
I'm
weekend.
thinking about renting a submarine to get around town with.
How are you doing, Lawrence? So, a couple of late goals with our rivals in the games, and it's over to Arsenal tomorrow.
Yeah, I really don't like this scenario where we play last. Everyone else plays ahead of us.
Yeah.
Because we're known for cocking things up. So,
Well, maybe.
I hope.
We're known for that until we change our ways and we have that metal about us. How are you, Tony? How are you doing?
I'm about a quart low, as you know.
You need a top up, man. You need a top up. It's not oil. It's the other thing that fuels Tony.
Just a little slight nick that I already had on my knee. Decided to pour for about 4 hours. So
yeah,
Tony.
It looked
Tony.
like Dick's.
Tony. Tony.
Nope.
Tony. Put the filter on. Remember that filter we talked about? Just put it on.
It looked like a scene out
No,
of Dexter, right?
Filter.
Dexter, indeed. Yeah.
What is going on? Listen to me, please.
Welcome, Moss.
Go ahead,
Gary, do the intros. You like to do the intros,
Hello,
Moss.
hello, Moss. Welcome to the show. We got Riddy's in the house as well.
Mm-hmm.
And Moss has got a couple of comments for everything else that we're going to get into. Snow Blizzard, where he is. Is he in? Where is he at? He's in Minnesota or somewhere Midwest somewhere? Because it's not snowing over here. I don't know if you can see out. You can't really see out of my window, but it's just really sunny. It's in the 60s today, I think. So nice weather. And last but not least, Ross is in the house. Welcome to the show, Ross. Tony on the AI, whatever system he's got going on there.
He's got a reporter following him.
Did you see that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Did you see that MLS game yesterday between LAFC and Real Salt Lake? They were playing in a blizzard.
I saw photos of it.
Oh, no, I did not see
it. It was literally chucking. Yeah. I mean, everyone was complaining, that why they were playing a game in a blizzard. They had to use an orange ball.
Wow.
So that, everyone could.
At least for that ball, everybody could see it. There's no excuse of not seeing the ball.
Yeah.
Well, for much of the game, Haaland was not seeing the ball today, but he got his chance presented to him.
Well, he saw the ball enough. He could have scored earlier. So they'll say he wasn't seeing enough of the ball. He
missed the sitter in the first half,
Absolutely.
like he did against Chelsea.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Stevie Wonder could have put that one away.
Here we go again.
There we go. Where's Alonso? We need him to tame someone as usual. Alonso may be joining us. I'm not sure.
One thing I'll say about today. One thing I'll say about today is if you look at who won and who didn't win, the better team won pretty much every game. And where there was a little bit of a question, you got a draw. So Arsenal has to continue to keep that trend going, where the better team wins this weekend at least, and keep their hit the 7 mark on their wins in a row for the Premier League. So yeah.
So Gary, we're in a situation where I think Liverpool have hit 63 points now, 5 points ahead of us, as Lawrence has said. We're playing these catch-up games, but we'll actually have 2 games now before
we just have to win one. Ray, which one?
Both of them.
No, which one do we have to win?
The next one.
The next one. There you go. That's all we have to do. Just win the next one. We'll be all right.
Yeah.
Exactly. We play City, so we don't care about City too much in terms of what they do. We just have to win our games. Liverpool, we have to ask other teams to help us. So
yep.
We have to ask the referee. We have to ask the referee to help us, like he did again for Liverpool yesterday.
Very true. Very true. But you know what? Just remember, it wasn't. It was our fault that we dropped points to Fulham and West Ham and Villa and I would say even
Newcastle,
that team in the North London Derby, we dropped points to them. So it's as many points as we are behind. You can look at many games and say, look, if we were playing better, we wouldn't have dropped points in many a game.
Do you know what is crazy though, lads? We're into March now, and Arsenal fans can point to why our goals against and control of games, plus our scintillating form of late, says that we could be champions due to that. Look at Man City. Man City fans will point to they always start slow, and here they come again, like a juggernaut. So Man City can say that with their trademark finish at the end. And Liverpool fans can point to their firepower up front, and
Jesus has really helped us by not being available.
Yeah. Well, what I'm trying to say, Tony, is usually at this point in the season you see a team that you say to yourself, yeah, they're going to win the league. Maybe it's a little bit early in the month to say that, but usually we can't say that about Arsenal, Liverpool, or City just yet.
What's bad is the fact that he totally coaches different in with Champions League or other cups, because he'll make the 60-minute substitutions. Only way he does that in the league is if we're up 4 or 5-0, then he'll put somebody in there. But I still lacking confidence in the man, Ray.
Yeah. Lawrence, what say you across the 3 contenders? They all have their qualities, right? We've got qualities in our team. Liverpool have qualities, and we know what City can do.
Yeah. Any one of the 3 teams can go on and win the league if they hit a rich vein of form.
Yeah.
The next couple of weeks or so are going to be pivotal. You've got Liverpool playing Man City next week. That could decide where the title goes.
Yep.
Primarily, what would help us out would be a draw in that game. Then after the international break, we play Man City. That's going to be pivotal to the title race.
Yep.
And then the week after, Man City are playing Aston Villa. Now, I know Villa aren't in the title race themselves. They're just outside of it. But that game could be pivotal as to who wins the title. So we as Sir Alex Ferguson would say, it's squeaky bum time.
Yeah, definitely will be squeaky bum time. Gary, as Lawrence is saying, there's going to be key fixtures coming up. and it'll only be a 3 or 4 fixtures where this thing is going to get decided because the teams seem to be holding serve each and every weekend.
Yes. Yep.
You know?
Yep. Yeah, no, for sure. I
What
think I
the
forgot.
hell?
I think I lost what you were saying.
We're
Fucking
basically
goddamn
saying there's 12 games. Some have more, some have
Yeah.
less
Yeah.
left in the season. The majority of those games will be wins because we're playing teams below
Yep.
our levels. You
Yep.
know, Arsenal, City, Liverpool. It's going to come down to these key fixtures.
Yeah, consistency.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been off late anyways. Since the new year, been the most consistent team playing. Right, we have pretty much been able to control pretty much every game we've played. We it hasn't ever felt like this might be the game where we struggle. Right, we haven't seemed like that at all. So
Yeah.
I think we've done really well that way. Everybody else is kind of, you can see it. They're winning late, which is what seasoned teams and teams with experience can do. We haven't had to do that, and I don't really want us to have to do that. We should just go out there, and if we play our game, we're just going to dominate and control the thing and see it out. So, if we sort of maintain our consistency and players coming in and going has not really derailed us. So we need to be able to handle that. And as Tony said, and it doesn't matter who comes in, we got to make sure we maintain our levels, right? So whoever we bring in cannot derail that. So if that means Jesus doesn't play as much, then that's what it's got to be. We don't play too many midweek games, right? And if we do, we need to be able to manage that. That's on Arteta. So, we have Jesus should be back, and who else should be back this week? I think
Partey is going to be involved.
Partey, he's practiced enough that he'll be involved. So we
Ah,
have depth now.
boo,
We have depth
boo.
now. And so Arteta needs to use that depth the best way. I mean, we don't need to give anybody who played last week a break because guess what? We have another
Do you
week
know
until
what
our next match.
means? Death means, Gary?
Do I know what it means?
It means
Pardon?
means Trossard's coming on with about 80 minutes left.
That's not what depth means, Tony.
That's what it means.
All right. Hey, Tony.
You asked the question and answered it, and you answered it wrong.
Yeah, right.
Harry, the teacher does not have the answer to the question.
Does not have the answer.
He did not get that back of that book. Lawrence,
right.
Mm-hmm.
They were saying on the telly that Man City have got the toughest running out of the 3 teams.
Yep.
So
on paper.
Let's hope they.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely.
We all know games aren't won and lost on paper.
Yeah. Yeah, and we were all hopeful today when Rashford scored that goal. I was tempted to tweet something out, but I knew better. I knew better. Yeah. I don't want to anger any of the gods, Gary.
I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this, right? Rashford is shit. He could have had a hat trick in that first half today.
Why did he not collect that ball before Foden equalized? Why did he not collect the ball? And he could have cut it inside that defender.
Yeah.
What it is you always talk about the football intelligence that you need to have. Has he not been around United for the last, think about it. Has he not been around United for the last 10 years? Does he not realize where his team sits in terms of where they used to be, in terms of what level they are and where they sit in the league, right? He doesn't because if you score that first goal and you have that second opportunity and he might touch him a little bit, but you got to stay on your feet and score that goal. You got to go up 2 goals on the road. So that's where what's he trying? He's not going to get the benefit of the doubt. They're not at that level, right? Yeah. If that's City player going down, maybe but he has to know that. Look, I need to score this goal, and that's what strikers do, right? Strikers supposedly are trying to get that second goal.
Lawrence,
he knew that Kyle Walker was up his backside, and he tried to con the referee by falling over. So it's down to him for costing United.
But why don't you make it a more compelling case by trying to cut across the player?
Yeah.
And having the referee to make a bigger decision than, a lot of us looked at that and was like, that's not enough for a free kick. That's not enough for a yellow card, even. In my opinion, it wasn't enough for a foul to be given. Rashford didn't sell it enough.
I know. That's a yellow card in itself because you're trying to con the referee. I mean, I don't know if he got a yellow card. I mean, I know Ten Hag got a yellow card for protesting.
Yeah.
But that's conning the referee. It's basically cheating.
Yeah.
And for all the good work that he's done in the last 12 months in getting free school dinners for kids, right? He's let himself down on the pitch.
Yeah.
He's a
good lad.
I had respect for him for what he was doing off the pitch.
Yeah.
But what I've seen over the last month or so, I've lost total respect for him.
Lawrence,
he doesn't even
does he want to be at United? I don't get the feeling that he wants to fight and be at United. I get the feeling that
Ten Hag is playing him as a 9, and he doesn't want that. He wants to be out on the wing, doesn't he? He's not. I mean, I don't know why Tony's making finger gestures at me.
He's trying to get.
I'm trying to get laser beams.
He's trying to get laser beams.
Right. Okay.
So you can barely concentrate as it is, Tony. Please.
This is the.
Go get your little fidget game and.
This is the all or nothing. This is the all or nothing documentary, and Tony is the distraction of the day right now. While we're trying to conduct business. We're trying to conduct business. Ryan said.
But to answer your question, Ray, I don't think he wants to be at United.
Yeah.
And I've heard rumours that we're interested in him. I don't want to see him in an Arsenal shirt.
No.
I don't. I just don't.
The pressing that he was doing against Luton 2 weeks ago, whatever that was, would make me not want to bring him. He plays in fits and starts. He's good. He's got quality. He can score goals, but he doesn't last full games, and he doesn't have that intensity. And Gary, we're looking at a player in Rashford who's a good lad off the field, but he reminds me of Aubameyang at Arsenal.
He does.
Rashford, in that wasn't fully committed to. He doesn't look like he's fully committed to the Manchester United process.
Oh well, yeah. You know what I think. Well, for me, I'm gonna back Aubameyang. I think you don't teach an old dog new tricks kind of thing. So I think Aubameyang was who he was. You that's like saying you bring in Haaland and you're going to ask him to defend or something like that. That's how I think when you have Aubameyang, you basically try to work towards his strengths, not ask him to do something that takes away from it. So that's kind of how I feel about that. And I see Ryan's comment here about Rashford, and that's the problem is he is not what they call it. He is not a team player in terms of whatever the coach wants. Because like he should be trying to score every time he gets the ball because that's what he does, right? That's what he's supposed to get paid for and all of that. So when he had an opportunity to get that goal, he should have just stayed on his feet. That's what the good players do. But he's not well, I guess he is accountable for it because we don't see him in the lineup all the time. And he doesn't come in as a changed man either, right? Because you expect him to like this is supposed to be a big game, and that I don't know. It is what it is. But he, as you said, Lawrence, he's kind of let himself down on the pitch.
Yeah,
off the pitch, he's doing a lot of good work, but he needs to put that same kind of level of dedication to what he's showing on the pitch as well. And it doesn't look like it. So
yeah.
Welcome to the show.
Well, I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tony, that's the best looking Stan impression I've ever seen.
There you go. Tony, I mean, he looks like he's in Vancouver all of a sudden. The man was in Oklahoma a second ago. Now he's in Vancouver. Oh wait, with his
back in
smoking
back in the
he's smoking robe on.
Yeah. AFC always seen Man City completely outlast Man United in every which way you can. Shows what we were up against in the run-in. Welcome, Stan. How are you doing?
Morning, everyone.
Hello.
Hi, Stan.
Man Stan's leading the front line.
Or the back two. I don't know whichever way you want to look at it.
Or you might be on the bench. You don't even know what this lineup means.
Tony and Stan are Rashford and Martial.
Oh no, I don't. That's kind of mean, isn't it?
So, Stan, what would you think of that? It was let's have a little bit of fun with it. We're Arsenal fans, and our rivals will be saying now on various podcasts, our rival fans expected us to drop points this weekend. We didn't drop points, but there you go. We've got to go to Sheffield tomorrow now.
Yeah, it's all on us now to take care of business, and I truly believe that the only way that we lose to Sheffield United is if it's our own undoing. If we don't turn up, or if we make a careless mistake because we're a better team than them, man for man, we've got better players than them, we're better coached. We should be able to. It should be able to be a formality, but that doesn't mean that we should be complacent. But if everybody does their jobs, then we should walk away with 3 points. And if we don't, there's going to be a huge inquest, right?
Yeah.
At this stage, against that opponent, you don't take anything for granted. But I mean, the way that we've been playing, we should be able to take care of business.
We're going to be playing the team at the bottom of the league, and we've been scoring a hatful of goals last month, and we should be able to continue on from that Newcastle game 8 days ago, and have a comprehensive win and an early 2-goal lead after 35 minutes should be the order of the day tomorrow. Today didn't work out for us. Manchester United flattered to deceive again, and Man City were able to overcome them, and it's gonna be a long track till the finish line here, but Arsenal need to keep pace, and Gary said win the next game, and then when we've won that next game, go beat Brentford next Saturday and be top of the league, putting some pressure on that City Liverpool game at Anfield next Sunday. So any other thoughts about the Man City game itself? Foden coming forward, being their talisman. Let Foden be world class if you feel that he is, and let Saka be world class if you feel that he is as well.
I've not seen the match, but I'm going to be watching match of the day, so I'll see the highlights. But I'm not surprised that Man United didn't get anything out of the game, because they're in the toilet. That team, there's a long way to go to fix that club, and it's going to take more than just appointing a manager, because they've gone through such an array of different styles of managers since Ferguson has left. They've gone for well-known, high stature managers that have big CVs, like the Jose Mourinho's. They've gone for managers that have even done it at international level with the Van Gaals. They've gone for the self-appointed model by anointing David Moyes. None of it has worked. They've tried ex-players with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Nothing is working for that team. And as big as that team is, they're never going to be as they were back in the 90s for many, many, many years to come. It's not a quick fix solution. Yeah, they'll win cups along the way. They'll win Carabao Cups along the way, and maybe Europa Leagues. But as a force of football, how we knew them back in the 90s and 2000s, when we were sort of like, continually sparring with them, those days for them, I truly believe, are over.
Yeah,
and you have to just say, the guy that spent that money for 27%, he's quite ham-fisted. I mean, look at the situation that we had when we didn't have a complete shareholder when we had Uzumov. Nothing
Yeah.
really got done. There was always talks and releases about things that were going to get done, but it was always hampered and nothing really moved forward. It wouldn't surprise me if they end up going in a similar direction, because anything that Radcliffe really wants to do, if it's significant enough, he's going to still have to get it signed off by the Glazers because they hold a majority share than him. So I think there's going to be more fun and entertainment to come from there. And I love Ten Hag. I love listening to his pre-match press conferences and his post-match, because he sounds like he's so out of his depth. He's like a deer in headlights, and maybe it's a little bit sadistic that I enjoy that, but I do. So even if I miss them, I'll go onto YouTube and look for them just so I can have a cup of tea.
We still feel, we still feel that old rivalry with Manchester United, and you know that'll come back around sooner or later. But we're enjoying them in the mud right now. Tony, can you hold on?
There's a wheel, right? There's a wheel, and the wheel's turned. It's
I'll
turned
try.
away from Manchester United. It's turned towards Man City, right? That's where the wheel is pointing.
Yeah, in that city. All right, so hold on to that, Tony, because Lawrence did have something to add in to Stan as well.
They said on the telly that it's the first time Man United have lost a game while being one up at half time.
Right.
In nearly a decade.
Yeah.
Because normally they either get a draw or they scrape a win. And it's the first time that they've led at half time where they've lost the game in a decade.
Yeah. And they haven't been that good for the last 5 or 6 years for that to happen even as well.
If I had shut my eyes and opened them again, I swear I'd be looking at Arsene Wenger's Arsenal near the end of his tenure, the way they've been playing.
I thought, yeah, indeed. Tony, what have you got?
One question, one thought. I'll ask this to everybody. Do you miss having that fourth team to go against every year, that rivalry? Do you want Man United in the top 4 fighting against this or not?
No.
That's an interesting question. Yeah. All right. So if you have if you have 4 teams in there, are you happy with who they are right now? Liverpool, City, our neighbors down the road, maybe being close there. Aston Villa taking that on, or would you want?
No one has a divine right.
Yeah.
No one has a divine right to be in the top 4. You're there on merit.
Yeah.
And Man United haven't been on merit for the last 4 or 5 years.
At least. Yeah.
So, I mean, I love it. Because I know a lot of Man United fans out here. So I love what they're going through because we've experienced it ourselves. And they've been giving us the verbals on it. Yeah. So for it, to come around and for them to experience now, I'm getting a big kick out of it.
Yeah. I actually will agree with Lawrence there. Keep them down. The rivalry is strong with them. And we had that at the turn of the century. Stan, what are your thoughts on that?
No, I totally agree. As I say, it's going to be a long, long time, I think, before they ever get anywhere near to back where they, to where they are. They kind of seem to be in free fall at the moment, and the money that they spend as well is just ludicrous. They've spent more than us.
Mm.
They're right up there with their spending, and they just seem to be making terrible investments.
Gary, do you want that Man United rivalry back?
You know what? There's always gonna, at least for me, gonna be 4 teams competing. Whether in this case, we might not have one team as 4, but between Villa and that team, if you look at, they, people have struggled with both of them at the top. So I kind of feel like, you know what, there's always going to be that 4th team that's going to be it. In this case, it's maybe 2 teams vying for that 4th spot, and I mean, there's 5 teams with 50 points or more. Right. So, and Villa's 3 points behind us right now. So we need to continue to play because, I think Villa's been, I guess, the more consistent one because they haven't had the injuries that team has in North London. So I think, Yeah, it is what it's always going to be. Teams competing this year. It's just more than one, as opposed as opposed to just one solid fourth place team. And Arsenal's gone through their struggles, right? And it's somebody else's turn. So let them struggle, and let's continue to make it. We gotta get trophies at the end of the day. At the end of this run, whatever happens, trophies have to be how we measure how we've done.
I just miss the rivals because Liverpool and Man City, and you want to say that's a rival yet because it's nothing like it was in the late '90s, early 2000s with Man United. But
it's better though, Tony.
You want a team you're battling with all the time.
Yeah, but you got City in there now, and you know what? What's the point of not? It's always going to be somebody else.
Yeah,
right?
Take City.
Nobody is going to be like if you go back and look at the history of the English football teams that we don't even think of now were the best teams back then. Right? It goes through a cycle. Right now, it's the cycle. City has kicked a team out of that top four. Right?
Yeah,
and Manchester United is struggling. So I just think it's a big cycle. It'll come back, maybe not. But it is what it is. You just try to be the best you can. I think so. I don't know.
They've also mentioned that now that England are going to have 5 teams in the Champions League when they have the new format next season. So it's going to be 5.
Yeah. The quality of the quality of the Champions League will just go down if they're doing that as well. They keep on opening up. We're going to talk about Nottingham Forest a little bit later as well in relation to the Liverpool game. And Nottingham Forest are a huge team. They have a good history, and they've won the Champions, the European Cup. Let's say they've done it the right way and won it twice in the late 70s, I think, early 80s.
Can I do my second thought there, Ray?
Yeah. You had a second thought. Bring it.
Yeah. Not just Stan mentioned this, but other people mentioned that McConaughey's had 70%, that Usmanov had 30%, but he didn't have a board seat. He didn't have any say at all in the club, just 30% of his money. So to just say, oh, he got full ownership, now things can change. That's not true. Because he had no say.
Yeah, but it brought uncertainty into the boardroom, and the Cronkies did not want to invest into something that was not 100% theirs. Why would you renovate? Why would you upgrade your business if 30% of it's going to go to the value of it's going to go to your
But wouldn't you like to have like 30%, especially like when we started struggling, then he's not paying. It's not all on the Cronkies as a
but it's like Tony. I'm taking you and I are going out for dinner all the time, and you're paying for it all the time, and I'm not. At some point you're going to say.
I mean, to me, this is similar to like, if you're a footballer, do you want to share your time with anyone? No, you don't. You want all of it, right? So for me, it's a similar thing. I mean, if you're a billionaire and you put some money into a team, eventually you might want to take it over, or at least one of the reasons why you're doing it is so you can get familiar with what this process is, and then maybe go buy your own team, right? It's an investment, and then you sell it from profit, which is good, and then you go buy your own, or you just buy the one you're involved with. So I kind of feel like that's how that one played out. I mean, if any billionaire invests in a business, and it's one that they could probably just buy outright if they wanted to, that's probably what they're doing. They're always trying to make more money. I mean,
did you know that Kroenke wanted us to follow the Leicester City model after Leicester won the league? He wanted us to become the next Leicester City.
In what way?
The way that the club is structured. He wanted us to be, we had, what's his name, Gazidis, saying that he wanted us to be a force in Europe, like Bayern Munich, Juventus, Real Madrid, Barcelona. And then when Kroenke went on board, Kroenke took over. He didn't put any money into the club, right? Because he never invests in any sports franchise that he owns. They had a meeting with the fans, and they told the fans that he wanted to model Arsenal Football Club in the same way that Leicester City were modelled, because of how they won the league in 2016.
Okay. I'm still not sure about what kind of model Leicester City was on that we wanted to model, you know?
I thought that they
No,
won
that's
that.
how much
A lot of the main contenders were having an awful season, weren't they, with managerial changes and stuff like that, weren't they?
Yeah. Well, yeah. And
Yeah.
uncertainty in some of the bigger clubs that season, and we didn't take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Also, you can look at it as in that same time period, right? We did nothing in the January window, which may have helped us. And
yeah,
you know, and so I can understand looking at the Leicester model, but if you looked at the Arsenal model, you go, what if they had done something different in the January window? Maybe that would have helped. Well, guess what? When we finished 5th, what we're expecting in January, something to happen, didn't happen.
That's when we went on a splurge in the transfer market and bought in Peter Cech from Chelsea, and that was it.
That was it, exactly. And so, listen, I'm quite happy with what Stan said. Leave Man United in the mud. They have to take care of their business before they become a rival of ours. And I'm quite happy with Alex Ferguson sitting in stands and watching this team flounder for 10 years, 10 seasons plus. And if Ten Hag is a good manager or not, we're not seeing it right now, Tony. His players are not playing very hard for him. The club is not structured correctly, and we'll see if it becomes a rivalry in the future. But as I think BX Gunner said, rivalries are created. I mean, I think that can be true as well, but you do have traditional rivalries.
But it just doesn't feel like we have one, even with North London. It just doesn't seem like it's a big rivalry like it used to be.
Yeah, well, I mean, because they're always they're forever in our shadow. We want to beat them all the time.
I
mean, also, Leicester City's model isn't to win trophies based on what they do, because if you're continually selling your best players, there's no way you're going to progress up the table. It's just not going to work. Like their model, they are based off of, buying cheap, selling high, and maintaining their business that way, right? If you're trying to win trophies, you want to buy cheap, keep the best players, and then continue to grow and get more good players until you have all the best players on your team. So, saying that means he understood nothing about about football in England, right? Because he wouldn't have said that about any of the other teams he had in the States.
Well,
he wouldn't try a model that only is set up to maybe win one time when everything goes perfectly for you. The rest of the team's struggling. You have no international football, and you've got a striker. They had one of the top strikers in at that point in his career. I mean,
so
it just doesn't happen, and that's just not the way it works for if you want to build something, for sure.
And Gazeta's not the best, not the best person to comment on these things. Ryan said, if we don't break the Premier League score record tomorrow, I'll be disappointed. I think it stands at 8-0 or 9-0 or something like that.
Which one? Yeah. Which one is he at? Is he at AC or Inter?
He's at AC Milan right now, Gazetas. AFC always not bothered how many goals Arsenal score tomorrow. 3 points. I mean, both things can be true, right? Sorry we couldn't help today, but we were outplayed in the second half. Rach, I thought you were quite compact in the first half, and you gave them a lot of problems on the counterattack. But I think you allowed them onto you too much, and didn't seem any ambition in that United side to go and get a second goal in the second half, especially. That was my take on it. Anyway, you can't sit back against teams like Man City, Arsenal, and Liverpool and expect to get away with holding on to one goal. It just doesn't happen, in my opinion. So yeah, we're playing Sheffield United away. Man United fans, I know, would prefer an Arsenal title over City or Liverpool. It depends on which Man United fans you're talking to. You hear about, oh, we prefer you to win it. Rivalries are created. Old school Manx don't want us to win the league. They want City. There's a lot of that going on as well out there. It's a football rivalry at its highest. Remember to click like. This challenge should have way more subscribers. Yeah, we're just doing our thing here, Rich. If people like what they see, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and we would appreciate that. Russ said, no one likes us, we don't care. Exactly. And we're getting back to that point. We were soft in those intervening years, last 4 or 5 seasons. Some do. We don't want City doing 4 in a row. Hey. Not officially yet, but if Arsenal and City go deep in the Champions League, then that opens a 5th place for the Champions League. Leicester were recruited. They recruited brilliantly over the years. And I think in some ways Brighton have overtaken Leicester now to be that team that have recruited well. We need to stop these arrogant predictions. What happened against Porto? But really, you can see that we are not struggling for goals, and the likes of City and Liverpool are not exactly blowing teams away as well. Leicester City's model at the time was great recruitment, as they had a great recruitment director at the time who were scouting Europe for cheap diamonds like Conte.
We scored what 20? We're like 25,
3, something like that.
And 3. So if you're looking at that, then that should continue, right? And so it's not arrogant based on the stats. The stats say we should be able to beat teams by at least 3.
That form table, Tony, that form table is probably the best you've ever seen it in regards to Arsenal. I know you love a form table, Tony.
Maybe not the best. We went on that.
We won
6 games. You're saying 25 goals to 3 against is not good.
That's not part of a form table, Gary. Wins and losses.
We've won our last 6. I don't know.
Let's switch from Manchester United derby to the Liverpool Forest game yesterday. Stan, did you see? You saw that game?
Ray.
Highlights?
Yeah, I did.
Ray, on the Leicester.
Sorry,
how do you want that model where they?
Dude, we moved on. Dude,
I had to go.
Dude, you can't go back now. No, this show moves forward. You moves forward. You can't be like Arsenal and kick
What
it
was
back
he
to
asking
the
about?
goalkeeper.
Leicester? What was he talking about? Leicester?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
I blame Lawrence. for comparing Arsenal to Leicester.
How would anybody want a model where you don't spend any money, you go to the championship, and now you're doing good because you have this huge pitfall of parachute money when you drop down to the 2nd division? I mean, those teams are just coming straight right back up because they're getting so much money, Premier League money, before they.
I don't know, Tony. We'll move on, though, right? We can move on, Tony?
Yep.
Yes, thank you.
Stan, I'll go to you first, Stan.
Very nonchalant.
Look, we're looking at the fixture table and we're saying, I put the podcast out here. Will our rivals falter this weekend? A real chance of Liverpool going to Forest and not picking up all 3 points.
Yeah, they've definitely got a bit of luck with them at the moment, getting that one right at the death.
Yeah.
But then again, that's what good teams do, don't they? They keep going and going and going until the game's over.
Yep.
Luton. Luton were really doing well for the majority of that game. They were doing. They were actually attacking their goal as well. They weren't just sitting back; they were having a go. But it just wasn't to be, right?
Yeah.
And so apparently, there's been. I was reading this morning how Liverpool fans are basically up in arms because they don't like certain songs being sung about them, right?
That's fair.
I believe the song the song is to do with signing on for your benefit kind of thing, which people from England know what that means. Your unemployment benefit and all that, right?
Yeah.
But I do think that while they're being very vocal of their displeasure about that, and I can understand that, these are also the same sets of fans that every time the national anthem is played, they like to hijack it, don't they? Now, whether you respect the royal family or you don't, I tend to think that if there's people in the crowd that want to sing the national anthem, why are you spoiling it for them? It's like if you're not if there's a party going on and you don't want to go to that party because you don't like the host, you don't go around there and spoil it for everybody else and then leave. You just don't go because there's other people there that's having a nice time. You don't just think of yourself, is probably what I'm trying to say. So I do find it hypocritical that on the one side that they're voicing their displeasure about a song that they don't like being sung at them, but they do the very same thing by hijacking the national anthem and singing about the death of Maggie Thatcher, who I'm not a fan of. But, it's just a little bit like if you're going to give it, you got to take it as well. I'm just saying.
Yeah. And you can, condemn both things happening as well. I think you should respect any anthem or anything that's being played, and
except for Angel, it has no business being at Arsenal.
Isn't the best protest one that if that's something, if you don't want to sing the national anthem, isn't the best protest to be silent?
Yeah, it is for sure. But yeah, we don't condone any kind of songs against that. And Liverpool, they struggled for large parts of this game. Didn't look like they were going to get the win. A lot of Liverpool fans were resigned to the fact they're going to leave the City ground with just a point. And then Darwin Núñez pops up with a header at the back post. Listen, we've done it this season. We've done it ourselves this season. Declan Rice scored a 96-minute goal against Manchester United, and we won the game 3-1 in the end. We had great celebrations from that. We beat Luton Town with a 98-minute winner from Declan Rice also. And we had an 89th-minute winner at Brentford with Havertz. So this is all about the roller coaster of watching football.
What's weird, Ray, is like a week and a half ago when we have a Champions League, it's like you don't see that happen.
You don't see what not happen.
You just don't, Gary.
You don't see what.
You don't see what happened.
Have you got a guess? Does it begin with J?
Guess.
I don't even know what. Just Tony, what do you? I need you to clarify for me. I'm not playing it. I'm not.
What do we not just see happen, Tony? It doesn't just happen. What?
Trying to remember Zechariah.
No,
we're talking about a late-minute winner.
I thought you were talking about a late-winning goal, and I'm like, did you watch Arsenal play in the Champions League? And they just lost.
They can score late in the Champions League too.
A week ago, we had all this stoppage time, but there's only 2 minutes added to the clock instead of a fucking 8 to 12.
And now they're back to, and now they are back to 8 minutes of added time. So, are you saying the Champions League they don't add that time on Champions League? Is that what you're saying, Tony?
We had 2 minutes added on during that game.
The Porto game.
It had plenty of fouls, plenty of stops.
It was 94. It was at least 4 minutes. It was 4 minutes of added time because they scored in the 93rd minute and 40-some seconds.
It was meant to be 92 minutes. You know how that goes, Ray. But
yeah. Yeah. Look, we're going to get into the referee as well. We're going to get into this referee situation because whether you like it or not, if you give a free kick to the wrong team, that changes the course of the game for the next couple of minutes. And whether it's 2 minutes later or 3 minutes later when they score, that game could have been very, very different if Nottingham Forest had been given the ball back for a free kick after.
Yeah, but I'm
I
sure
think if
Nottingham
you look
Forest
at the
probably get an
entire 90
apology. So that's
minutes,
all
Ray,
right.
that usually balances out. You
Who's
just
going to go
can't pick.
first?
You just
What,
can't
Tony?
pick. I said I think during a whole game that balances out. You can't just pick a 3 or 4 minute span of time.
Well,
And not
maybe
see
in
what
the whole
happened
season.
earlier in a
Maybe
game,
in the whole season it will pan out and even out because Liverpool fans will tell you at White Hart Lane they were robbed. They were robbed at White Hart Lane, and I can get behind that. They were robbed at White Hart Lane. They lost the game there, but they clearly picked up 3 points yesterday due to the referee being incompetent. You know, the goalkeeper collides or has a head injury with their central defender. I think it was Konate. And Konate goes down on the floor. The referee stops the game outside with Nottingham Forest having the ball outside of the box. And then clearly gives the ball back to the goalkeeper while Gibbs White is asking him why are Liverpool getting the restart here when we had possession of the ball. Paul Tierney. Stan.
The referee's like that. I don't know what I'm doing. Just get on with it. Asking questions.
It might have been.
It just shows you how shit British referees are.
Yeah.
That's why you never see a British referee at a World Cup or a European Championship game because the whole lot of them are shit.
Shit-hazzy.
You know.
Yeah.
Technically, isn't that supposed to be a drop ball?
No, that was.
It was a drop ball. It was a drop ball to the goalkeeper.
Before 2019, that was the
wrong team. That's the
he dropped the ball to the wrong team, didn't he? He dropped the wrong ball.
Yeah. No,
you know, one thing I also will say is I say it all the time when these teams play the big teams. You got to run through the tape. You got to play all 90 minutes. I mean, there were 2 Nottingham Forest players who had an opportunity to clear that ball before it was returned back to before it was ended up with, was it Alvarez or whoever it is that made that cross? Yeah. They had 2 opportunities to clear it and they chose to not clear it, like emphatically to skid it out, and they paid a price for it. All right, you got to clear that ball. Like at that point in the game, this ball should be cleared out, especially when you're in the middle of a mess. Just get it out of there, reset your defense, and try again. But they didn't, and they got punished for it. So yeah, and you know what the problem is even in that game, I think Liverpool fans would tell you that they had a similar call go against them. The problem is in the first half versus in the last minute of the match makes a world of a difference. All right. Mm-hmm. If you get punished in the first half, you have a whole half to redeem yourself of that mistake. In the last play of the game, last touch of the game, you don't have any time to redeem yourself. So that's why it's not necessarily equal in that sense, and especially when it's a mistake. Like Arsenal winning late and all these other teams winning late, there wasn't a play you could see right before that where you're like, well, if that call went the right way, and they would have had a chance to get what they wanted out of that game. So
there is a regulation. There is a difference between the foul inside the box and the foul the incident happening inside the box and the incident happening outside the box. There is a rule difference there, and that's the difference between the 2 things you were talking about, Gary.
No, I'm talking about a call going against you. If it goes against you in the first half, you have a whole half to redeem.
Yeah, but that was in the box.
It doesn't matter what the result, where it was on the pitch, and what the result was.
Well, it does. The rules.
You still have 45 minutes.
Yeah.
To rectify it without the referees being part of it. In the last 3 minutes, was what the case here. You don't have much time. So
I definitely get that. Yeah,
that's kind of what I was portraying there. Is what happened.
Stan?
I was just going to say, in situations like this, I always try to, if I can, look into it for the positive. And I suppose that there is one silver lining, and that is that, Nottingham Forest will probably get a very nicely worded apology letter from the PGMOL. So it's not that bad. It's not all doom and gloom.
Yeah, it won't be a bill.
I thought they already got that. I think they already got that.
They don't even write those letters out anymore. They just have them on photocopy, don't they? They just print off another one, stick it in an envelope. Do you know what I mean? And just send it off.
When you get
when are we?
Lawrence,
when are we going to
first? Yeah, go ahead, Lawrence. You were first.
When are we going to see a referee held to account for his bad decision making? It seems these referees get away with murder. You never hear Howard Webb criticise one of these referees. He always has an excuse. It's just
how is he going to verbalize that? Because they're going to read the rule out. Michael Owen is going to go on that show and read the rule out for them, and he's going to say the possession needs to go back to the team who had possession when the game was stopped, and they'll very clearly see a goalkeeper on his own in the box and not the Forest player outside the box, and the ball is given right. The ball is handed back to the goalkeeper this way. So how will Howard Webb verbalize that?
He'll find a way. It's just laughable that these referees get away with it all the time. Mike Dean. It's just like if any one of us didn't perform our job properly, we'd be fired. Yet these referees get away with murder.
Yeah.
It's just a joke. The whole lot of them are an embarrassment to the game. Each and every one of them.
I think Canterbury's hit the nail on the head. If you have referees as part of the post-game interview, so that they can look into the camera and tell us about why they made decisions and be accountable for themselves, then they would probably take more care in those decisions because they know that they're going to get asked about it. Make them accountable. They just the final whistle goes and they just scuttle off, don't they? They just scuttle off, and that's the end of it. And everybody else is being asked the question, why do you think the ref did this? Why do you think the ref did that? And everyone's like, I ain't got a fucking clue, mate. Ask them. But they're not there. They've already had it away in their toes, haven't
they? But you really don't have that in any sport across the board.
Well, they just said in Germany, they've got post-ref interviews in Germany, in the German league. In American football, when the ref makes a decision on the pitch, he shouts it through his mic and it comes out the speakers and everything. And, he's telling you what he's doing.
Yeah.
We're part of, we understand their decision making because they're at least trying to explain it to us. And I just think all of these little elements are what you're doing is you're making the officials accountable for the decisions. And we don't have that. They make the decision. We're not allowed to ask any questions. If too many players go and ask the referee, they get booked. There's all these protections in place. You're not allowed to question anything, and they tell us nothing. We have to listen to boring life.
You get it in rugby. You can hear the actual conversation between the referee and the person in front of the video screen. They give it a different name in rugby. I can't remember what it is.
PMO.
But you can hear the conversation. You can hear the conversation between the referee and the video official at a rugby game.
Yeah. It sounds like,
and then you can hear the conversation.
We don't do it. Sounds like everyone else is doing it. Even in motorsport, we hear on the radio talking to each other. Why is it we don't hear it? Nothing in football, the biggest sport.
Do you know why? Do you know when we hear it, Stan? After it's a high-profile incident, and after the heat has gone out of it, 2 weeks later, you hear about it.
Yeah, and you've had
nobody cares.
Come up with loads of shit.
Nobody cares anymore because Nottingham Forest are not going to get bills in the post. Tomorrow they'll get a nice letter instead of a big electricity bill, but that's not going to help.
Like we get
Amazon.
It's not like we get to look up a referee's notebook. But that's scary. Shouldn't they go to something like VA and have just a replay?
Yeah. You know what I would like to see, Ray?
Free
I'd like
light
to see
snicker for Saturday afternoons.
You know,
Go ahead, Lawrence.
no, I'd like to see Gary do a video review of a conversation between Alonso and Tony.
You want a VAR those two, Gary?
No, not at all. Not at all. No, you know what? I know we want to hear what they're saying, but we also need them to do their job, which is accountability, right? If that's really the key thing that we want, right? We need accountability as to what's going on there. So it should be the case that when a mistake is made, and because they, as you said, they will post some information about a call being made that's incorrect. Probably should get punished for. We never hear what happens next. Like how they get, like saying I'll do better next time isn't an answer. That official should be, they should be whatever, suspended or whatever it is. I mean they the official who didn't put the lines down for what is it?
Oh, Lee Mason. Lee Mason.
He basically,
Lee Mason.
He's a mentor now for the new officials coming through the league. So how does that work? How wait, you know what? It's like saying a doctor who killed someone either by mistake or negligence now is going to go teach people in the next year. Not even after they've had some time to redeem themselves. Like, you know what? You don't get to do your job anymore. But guess what? You get to actually, you're going to help the next set of officials come through and get better at this thing.
Learn.
It's
my mistake.
That just shows you how fucked up the system is.
Mm-hmm.
That you bring back someone who's prone to making these type of mistakes. And you bring him back as a trainer to teach new referees.
What I'd like to say is, and be clear that we are talking about this as Arsenal fans, so we are being very tribalistic about it because it's benefited our rival in the race for the title. So we're not going to be up here and piously say, because if this happened with Arsenal, we'd be saying thank you very much and move along, right? Would we be saying that?
I bet the other 19 Premier League sides have got their own opinion about Lee Mason. I'm sure Arsenal aren't the only team that he's fucked up. Well, I'm sure he's done it to other Premier League teams as well. I remember a game he refereed a few years ago, West Brom and Brighton. He gave Brighton a penalty, then changed his mind. There was I can't remember the offence, but he pointed to the spot because VAR told him to go to the spot. It was a penalty, and then he changed his mind and gave it as a goal kick.
And the final thing about Paul Tierney, and he will probably get suspended for one game and be back for the next Premier League game after that. So when he comes back for it'll probably be the interlull when he comes back on March 31st.
Yeah, but one game isn't enough, Ray.
I know.
One game is not enough. If a referee makes a mistake such as the one on yesterday, he's got to be suspended for 4 or 5 games.
Mm-hmm. I definitely agree with you.
He has no right to be.
Yeah.
Sorry, he has no right. I mean, I wish there was a British version of that Italian referee. You know the one I mean with the weird eyes.
Pierluigi
what's his name?
Collina.
Yeah. I wish there was a British version of him.
I thought you were going to say Ozil. The weird eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's got him but
anyway, Lawrence, do you think they should go back to the way it was and just have the amateur referees? Because I can't think of any other sport where I can name a dozen of the referees.
Yeah, no, I just think the whole refereeing system in England needs to be reviewed.
Well said.
Some of these some of these referees, yeah, some of these referees need to be retrained because they've got no idea. They have no idea what they're doing. Excuse me.
All of them, I say. I'm with Lawrence there. Is this a new lad you've got on here?
Yeah.
This lad on the channel before.
Lawrence, I don't know. I don't know if he has an affinity for Everton or Burnley.
No, I want Everton to go down. I want Everton in the Championship.
No, that's not nice at all. I mean, you know, up here in Everton, the fans have a lot of dreams, Lawrence. We have a lot of dreams about where we could be.
Yeah.
And
you know
fact,
what? You
in fact, I just wanted to, if you don't mind, just indulging me just for a little bit there. You know, we have a lot of dreams, and you know, in between the time when I was out of work, you know, a lot of people have been asking me. They said, Sean, you know, what did you do when you was out of work all of that time? And it might surprise a lot of people, but I kind of took up a little bit of poetry, and here's a small one that I actually put down about dreams, and it's actually called Dreams. And it goes a little bit like this. It says, hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken-winged bird that cannot fly. Hold fast to dreams, for when dreams go, life is a barren field frozen with snow. Anyway, I just thought I would leave you there with that one, and maybe I'll come back later on in the season and drop another pearl for my little poetry book for you.
That's
the best. And take care for now. Bye.
That's the best impression of Tony I've heard.
Yeah, Sean Dyche needs to concentrate on Everton, keeping them above that relegation line, and with the they could face further sanctions as well by the end of the season, you know. But
I look at other points and where they are, and it's a chance of it this year, like the previous 2 years, and I say give them like another 10-point ban because they've been a good team this year.
They had a good repass to the first set of points that they were docked by the commission, by the league, right? Independent commission, which they should start hopefully getting around to Man City at some point and start administrating some of those 115 charges against
Stan,
City.
you just missed Sam again.
Who?
Sean.
Michaels.
Hey,
Sean.
Stan.
Sean Dyche. Did he make an appearance? What was he up to?
Yeah.
What's he saying?
He made the list, Tony.
He didn't have any
Stan.
fruits with him.
Stan.
Yeah.
You're going
You
down.
made the list.
You think that's strong enough to make the list?
Why? Why am I on the list?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Who
Who went in the list, Tony or Stan? Who went in the list?
Stan.
Tony or Stan? Oh, Stan.
My
Okay.
list.
I invented the list.
Let's see if after the show, Orange tells you why you made the list.
Now, at the end of the game as well against Liverpool and Nottingham Forest, one of the Wolves coaches goes to the referee, goes to Paul Tierney, and asks some questions, which obviously Paul Tierney had an objection to, and he was able to hide behind the red card for that coach. So, Paul Tierney.
Did you just say one of the Wolves coaches?
One of the Forest coaches. I might have said Wolves.
Okay.
I meant one of the Nottingham Forest coaches. Went to Paul Tierney, and Paul Tierney was quite defensive about it. His body language looked quite defensive, as if he'd known he had made a mistake. So I wonder if there's any kind of back and forth between VAR saying, excuse me, Mr. Referee, you might have made a mistake there in giving the ball back to Liverpool for the last 2-3 minutes of the game.
It's usually if you say a certain word to a referee, starts with C.
Yeah, but they're unapproachable,
Okay.
Tony. You can't. They're unapproachable, and they treat people like they're kids, like they're back in school. You know.
Do you remember a game that we played at Sheffield Wednesday? About God, it was like a long time ago. It was like 25 years ago, and Wednesday had a player called Paolo Di Canio who shoved the referee to the floor after he got sent off against us.
Yeah.
I think his name was Paul Alcock. And the way he went down, I mean, it was so dramatic. I mean, Di Canio just basically pushed him over with one finger, and he fell down like a sack of potatoes.
You know,
and they suspended Di Canio.
The best thing about that incident is after he pushes the referee down, right? If you watch it, Nigel Winterburn comes storming up to Paolo Di Canio to have a go.
Yeah,
and turns around, and Winterburn just retreats. He's like that.
Yeah, I know.
Not having any of that.
I mean, I just wish that someone would stand up to these referees and you know, and smack one of them in the face.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly do.
I just like I've already said, I think the way it gets resolved is if the teams actually want it to change, because they are essentially to some degree they're employed, you know, by those teams, because other teams are the reason why, you know, everybody's getting paid in this thing, you know, and I think the reason why all the teams should be having partake in this, because everybody gets punished by it. It's not one team that you could go and say, you know what, it's always been good. They always referee the games the right way each time, right? It doesn't happen. So it's a systemic issue.
Yeah.
And none of the teams want to, as a league, none of them want to stand up together and say, look, you need to fix your house. Because the first thing that they did in terms of fixing refereeing was approach, you know, say that, guess what? As managers, you can't do this and you can't do that, right? That's the first thing that they did. They didn't fix what they do, right? All these calls early in the season for Arteta and Pep and Klopp and all this stuff, right? Managing the coaches because of their, you know, what they were doing. It's like, dude, why don't you do your job right first, and then start coming after, you know, the coaches and some of the players in certain situations. So I think that's where the league, when I say league, I mean the teams, come out and basically say, look, you guys need to do a better job. You know, this isn't, you know, because basically think about it. People's livelihoods are based on what these officials are doing, right? You know, teams are relegated, teams are winning trophies, you know, all of this, people losing their jobs based on the fact that you can't do your job, right? I mean, come on. At some point, you know, the information that is on those audios is going to come out, and it's going to, you know, and you're going to find out they don't know what they're doing and they don't care.
What should happen is that these teams should walk off the pitch. If there's a referee that's not doing the job properly, then both teams or the other team or whatever team's being punished should just storm off the pitch and say, we're not continuing to play this game because you're fucking shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's what should be done. Because, like Gary said, these officials are costing teams winning a title, getting relegated, a manager keeping his job. You know, I know there's going to be some people say, no, that's too drastic, but it's going to happen. You're going to have an incident where a manager is going to drag his team off the pitch in the middle of a game because these referees are not doing the job properly.
But 2 to 3 months before the end of last season, it's like, oh, we're to go review our officiating, make changes. Same thing with VAR. And nothing's changed.
No, because you're still going to have that inconsistency of applying the rules with referees.
There's one I wish they would get right? Offside. You can't have a non-scoring part of your body across the line. So your hand, your elbow, your shoulder.
You're asking them to change. They can't even execute the rules they have today. And
It is a current rule.
No.
It says you cannot score with a
Yeah. The problem is they don't even execute the rules they have today. Ask them, like, hopefully it's not. It sounded like you were asking for a new rule change, but in reality, they can't even do. They can barely do the jobs they look. You do this in every official does this, right? A call is made, the game is stopped. The first thing you do is you say who gets the ball coming out of this either timeout or coming out of this stoppage and play, right?
Yeah,
that's the first thing you do, right? So everybody on the field knows, all your partners and stuff know, coming out of this situation where we just stop the game, Nottingham Forest gets the ball, right? That's how that. And now you go into the discussions as to what's going on, and after that you go back and do it. I bet if you hear the audio, he's probably the only way he could justify what he did is by saying I meant to make that call earlier and I didn't. I let too much time go between the time when Konate goes down in the box and when the Nottingham Forest players had the ball, and that's why. You would expect to hear that on the audio, and if they did, they would put it out there. I doubt that audio exists where he actually said, I meant to blow this whistle a few ticks earlier when the ball was in the possession of Liverpool, right?
The only way, Gary, the only way he can give it to Liverpool is if he thinks that a Liverpool player has been fouled in the box.
Konate was the one that went down, remember?
Yeah, with his own goalkeeper.
Well, that's where they corrected, right? But that's the only, like I said, that's the only way I would see them justifying it is that, look, there was a foul. And you know what? If they didn't even go, did they go? I don't even know. Did they go to the video to confirm? They don't, right?
You would think, as a team, you would think as a team they're working together, but
they can't in that situation go to the cameras and say who's the foul on. It's got to be one of the three people on the pitch, and it's really hard to see it at real time that the goalkeeper is the one that actually makes the contact. So
the goalkeeper, the Liverpool goalkeeper collides right into Konate. The Liverpool goalkeeper collides into him.
Like I said, I doubt that was the scenario. I just think he made a mistake, because I have no doubt if the audio said that it was a call on the foul on Konate, then they would just put it out there, even if that was wrong because it was on the goalkeeper. But at that point, they can't review it anyways, right? So it's just a missed call, and that's all that is. And that happens when you can't review every single play, which is, we don't want that anyway. So, like I said, I think once again, if you're the team that, like, they had an opportunity to stop and kill that game as well, they didn't do it, and they paid for it. So double-edged sword, but it's all some of it's on them, some of it's on the way that things work in the league right now. So,
but if you go by stuff, isn't if you go by their rules,
I'm not doing it.
If you go by their rules,
go by your rules.
How many of those replays are clear and obvious when you have to look at it for 5 fucking minutes?
As I started this whole conversation, first try to do what you're supposed to do first. Follow your own rules.
Yes.
Clear and evident. It should be clear and evident, right? Meaning that he should have seen this.
Clear and obvious.
Clear and obvious. Clear and obvious. Which means he should have seen it, right? Somebody on that pitch should have seen this play and made the right call. That's not what they're doing. They're, once again, like I said, since this whole thing came about, they're trying to perfect the game in certain situations. Not everyone, not all the situations that occur, just in some of them. So they're not even doing that right? So I think it's being implemented incorrectly. Fix mistakes by the officials, right? Don't try to perfect the game. It doesn't have to be perfect. It will never be perfect.
You have to stop the game for a foul, an injury to a player, a head injury to a player. You have to stop the game. Yeah. Then you say, okay, there's an injury to a player. What the protocol is, the rule is, if there's an injury to a player and the game is stopped, the ball goes back to, uncontested ball goes back to the team who had the ball in their possession at the time of the stoppage. And that was clearly Nottingham Forest. The only way they could mess this up if they thought a Nottingham Forest player had fouled Konate and it's a free out. But I don't believe that was the case. And the VAR team should be backing the referee up as well. And if you're going to make an egregious decision, to have somebody, at least somebody say, are you happy with that? Are you happy with that, Paul Tierney? Are you happy with your decision?
But you know what? That's the thing. They don't do that. They actually tell the official what's going to happen, as opposed to, I think you should take a look at this video, right, segment, and then let them make a decision. But they actually tell them what they're about to see, and I think that's where they go wrong.
Ray,
Tony,
do you know what offsides is now?
Yeah.
But by the way, referee, do you know what an offside is?
What?
I said, by the way, they referee offsides. Do you know what offside is?
I have an idea, but I'm never 100% sure that the goal is going to stay valid. As in,
it can be a non-scoring.
You should be drawing the line from the position of the furthest part of the body that's able to legally score a goal. So your arms and your hands, at a certain point in your arm, it becomes, a live area. I would say your toes, the tip of your boot, is counted as well. Yeah. So yeah, I think you and I could do a better job, though, Tony.
Yeah.
So
it just drives me nuts when it's like, oh, his elbows are crossed. It's like, can't score with an elbow. So.
Yeah, and look, we're here as Arsenal fans looking at the weekend's games because we've been waiting for Arsenal's game tomorrow, hoping that Nottingham Forest would do something against Liverpool. We're a little bit sick at the end when Liverpool do score that goal, but I suppose we have to recognize that we've had moments like that in our season so far, and it's going to happen.
They over-celebrated. Did anyone notice? They over-celebrated. Just
they celebrated somewhat. Yes.
I think. I looked at it. Klopp didn't celebrate that much. He actually didn't. Not like he's done in the past. So
I mean, he didn't run down the sideline, right? Yeah. Gary, he didn't run down the sideline like
he might have. You know what? I think he might have went a little across the line when he did like a little fist.
A little bit like a George Graham. There's a little bit of a George Graham in 1989.
He didn't hold it there long. But you could see the gesture and the movement.
And then he was like George Graham style. Calm it down. We're at the city grounds.
I believe they knew they stole that one, right? So
yeah.
I mean that was because I was actually we were doing our show on Saturday morning, and I'm like, oh, this could be a finish off a draw, and then I'm like speechless because I'm like, all they had like I said, two Nottingham Forest players had an opportunity to clear that ball, or at least if they maintain possession of it, the game's 1-1 at that time. So you as much as they want to blame their officials, it's the same as like Arsenal, right? We lost 1-0 or something like that in a match. As much as you want to blame the officials for whatever could have happened for that one goal to go in, we had so many opportunities to score and we didn't. So you got to look in the mirror as well. So.
Yeah, look, and all of that being said, notwithstanding the refereeing decision being really bad, Nottingham Forest had a duty to themselves to play better, clear the ball, and defend better. I thought a lot of their play, they got tired in the second half, I felt, and allowed Liverpool come on to them a little bit. And in the end, Liverpool pushed, and teams who are desperate for wins and because they become mean and they have a little bit of a snarl and grit about them, and that's what Liverpool did yesterday. And as Stan said, if you're a good team in this league, you'll keep pushing and you'll get what you need at the end of the day. Tony,
moving past VAR, I know Arsenal's your 1A, Liverpool's your 1B. But it's going to be pretty easy at this point to give Klopp the manager of the year.
Should it be pretty easy to give Klopp the manager of the year? Well, Ange has to be in the running as well because apparently he got manager of the year.
You know what? He plays fun football, and this is what we always talk about. What this thing's all about. If you play fun football, then hey, winning trophies and finishing, tops in the top 4 of your league and winning your group in Europe. That's all good and good and all, but when you play fun football, that's what all the kids are looking at. That's what everybody's trying to strive for. So
Unbelievable.
fun football, man. Fun football.
Ange ball.
Hashtag fun football.
Yeah.
That's what
how does David Moyes not be the award is for the best London manager, not the league, right?
Yep.
And you'd have to say that, I'm taking off my Arsenal glasses here, right? But I'd have to say David Moyes, he didn't win the Champions League, but he won a European trophy. It's a big deal for that club to have done that. He's managed to maneuver that club, and it's not like they're full of Galacticos. And if you're going to discount that, then after that, then I would say Mikel Arteta, just for the fact that in that calendar year, he led the Premier League for that record time. If we're judging just the London managers, because other than that, who is there?
We mean the Chelsea women's manager actually won
Roy Hodgson.
So if we're going to talk about winning trophies, right? The Chelsea women's coach won trophies. So that's where people are like, she didn't, she should be getting that trophy. She's actually won their league.
Yeah.
Competing and winning, her group in the Champions League and all that kind of stuff. So I
suppose if you're putting her in the nomination, then she should win
still competing all 4 fronts, She's still competing all 4 fronts, just like all the top managers in England are doing, right? Yeah. But no, she doesn't. So I think I don't know where they were going with that decision, because he's not.
You know what?
He's behind Arteta.
He
was.
You know what, Ray?
Embarrassed about it.
You know what, Ray?
Yeah.
You know what?
What?
I'm going to tell you what's going to happen this summer. He's going to stab Tottenham in the back and go to Liverpool. Watch.
Okay.
Because Liverpool were the team he followed when he was a kid.
Did you see what
he was a big fan of?
There?
They're going for Alonso, aren't they?
Yeah, I don't think Liverpool would really take him. Well, it'll be interesting to see. Xavi Alonso, Bayern Munich have again dropped points this weekend. A 2-2 draw, I believe it is, with Freiburg. And
should be beating Freiburg, man.
Leverkusen can't beat Freiburg. And Leverkusen are now 10 points clear in the Bundesliga. So Hurricane.
But you know what? That's the problem is they brought in Klopp, and Klopp comes with a resume. What manager comes with a resume similar to Klopp that he can bring in?
It's tricky. Yeah.
Ray, did you catch what Gary said a minute and a half ago?
No.
He said all the good managers, all the top class managers are still in 4 competitions. So that eliminates who? Who does that eliminate? It eliminates Arteta.
What does that have to do with anything? I don't think Arteta's the best manager in London.
I think Tony's had a bit. Tony's had a bit too much Mountain Dew.
4 competitions, it'd be pretty tough. There's 1 winner of the Carabao Cup.
Mountain Dew 0.
So anyway,
no sugar.
So listen, it's going to be tricky. Looking into the championship as well. Leicester lost at the weekend. Ipswich Town won, and Leeds drew 1-1. Mr. Tom will not be as happy as he usually is. But Liverpool and Man City picked up maximum points. They left it late this weekend, and we're just going to have to move on to the next round of games as well after Arsenal beat Sheffield United tomorrow. Yeah, Tony, Gary's taking care of stuff there. So here we are. Stan, is going to come down to a couple of games, and we'll talk about the upcoming game against Man City at the Etihad. Because for Arsenal, we should get through Sheffield United, and we should get through Brentford next Saturday.
But this team in that game against Porto, I still feel that they let the occasion get to them. And the games either side of that reinforce it for me, that it wasn't a dip in form. And I'm worried that if this could be something like Mikel's last piece of getting this team to win things is making sure that they don't get overawed by certain occasions. And I'm really hoping that Man City is not one of them. You know, I'm really hoping that the last win that we got over Man City has kind of taken a little bit of that, you know, that sort of invincible factor around Man City. You know, if you can beat them once, then hopefully you the next time you face them, you remember, well, we can beat this team. We're capable of beating this team. They're not indestructible City, if that makes any sense, because we've managed to chink their armor. Yep. So I put that game into good stead. I mean, even if we could get a draw out of that game, it could be enough, right?
Absolutely.
It could be enough.
Stan and I were actually talking about Cahoot a little bit earlier as well. So, yes, Cahoot will be coming back probably next weekend. We're going to do it after that.
We brought it up at the last board meeting. It was in the minutes. And, it could be making a comeback.
It could be making a reappearance. I was just waiting to see if there was interest in it to come back. You know, we'd like to have 5 or 6 people competing in there. And we need like some controversy in the show where Tony feels like he's being cheated out of a win, you know? So
I was cheated out of
a win.
And you also cheated to win in the upset pick.
No, I didn't.
It evens itself out, doesn't
it? Stan, you forget where this started at.
Here we go.
Ray didn't have a rule.
Right.
First game of the year.
Oh, no. Come on.
Arsenal first place, the other team 20th place. And guess what? It comes out in the news that 7 Arsenal players are gone. Then guess what Sam picked?
Tony's on the list.
I thought he was writing down
Why are we going back?
Lawrence, I want you to write in parentheses Selhurst Park, Tony.
Take your business, Gary.
Selhurst Park, Tony. That's his nickname.
Tony, can we deal with the present, please? Just
Tony loves Crystal Palace.
Just
he doesn't.
2024, please. That's it.
Gary, he doesn't do the present.
Hold on.
Selhurst Park. There you
I
go.
don't think it fits in my screen.
That's perfect. Tony has left the building.
In fact, Lawrence.
Yeah.
Do you know what happens when you infringe on my trademark of the list? Yeah.
Oh no!
Do you know what happens when
you get on the list? You get on the real list now.
Even though there's only really one list.
Put Gary down for Tottenham. Put Gary down for Tottenham.
No, I don't get on the list. I don't get on the list.
Made the list.
I don't go on any list. I've done nothing wrong.
You're on the list for having a list.
Get my name off your damn list.
Ray, you deserve to be on there.
The Oscars are coming up, Gary. Are you going to be nominated for the Oscars?
No.
Look, there you are.
Whoa. What? Lawrence, Lawrence, you better burn that list.
What?
Yeah.
I'm going to eat it after this podcast.
You're going to have to. This message will self-destruct right in a couple of ticks.
Okay, so Stephen, yes, we will be having a Cahoot comeback. Can we do a Cahoot League? I don't know if you can do a Cahoot League, but we'll check it out. Lawrence, if you're not aware of what Cahoot is, download it on your phone.
Okay.
The Cahoot app, and you can play next weekend.
Okay.
You don't have to put your social security or anything like that in there. I love that Zoom.
I don't have to pay for it.
You don't have to pay for it. It's free. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So, all right. So it looks like there is some interest in having Cahoot come back, Tony. So, controversy creates cash. Lawrence doing his best Jose Mourinho impression. So there you go. What else look, we're talking about City, Gary. So I feel like we can go to that game in the Etihad in good shape at the end of the month and not have a team that has holding in it or an injured Partey or a lightweight Gabriel Jesus who's not physical enough for that game probably. But we can go there with players like Saliba where Holding was, Declan Rice where Partey was, and maybe a Havertz, maybe a Jorginho where Granit Xhaka was, and maybe a Trossard where Jesus was in the spring.
Yep. Well, we're playing better football at this time than we were last time, a year ago, I believe. So that's good, and we've been able to rotate in certain areas and not miss a beat in terms of being able to maintain this. So, and if we're getting healthier in terms of our depth, then we should be all right there as well. So, we just need to continue this. We got to win the next one, and then the next one, and the next one, and the next one, until the season's done. So, I am really looking at it one game at a time because
you are.
We have to be perfect on this thing. Only we can be perfect is if we win the next one. So, in this run, so let's do it. Let's do it. And and I don't think there's any game, at least on the schedule right now, that we shouldn't have a chance to win. If not, definitely have a chance to win it. So, the City match, we could win it. Yes. If we don't, we need to compete though. We beat them already once this season. Yeah. So they have to beat us just to maintain. But we have the upper hand. You're essentially playing with house money sometimes, right? And this is one of those, and we're a good team. We should be able to take a risk in this game. That's what we're going to have to do, and maybe steal one from them. So
let's not underestimate how good Arsenal have been this season. In the top 3 league where we played Liverpool and Man City, we are leading with 7 points. We've beaten Man City at home. We've beaten Liverpool at home. We've drawn with Liverpool at Anfield. It just remains to have this game at the Etihad for the top 3 table to be finished with 10 points. If we win there, if we get a draw, it's 8 points. Liverpool have drawn twice to Man City and to us at Anfield, and they have lost to us at the Emirates. Man City have only drawn 1 game from 2 played. They have lost to us once, and they have drawn with Liverpool. And they have to play Liverpool, and they have to play Arsenal. As Lawrence said, they've got the more difficult games on paper than we do. So there's no reason to believe that we could not be competitive going into the Etihad at the end of the month, Stan.
No, not at all. It's all set up nicely for us.
Nothing's given.
Our future is our destiny is in our own hands, I believe.
Who do we feel is? What would the result be? Honestly, what do you think the result will be next Sunday between City and Liverpool? It's hard. I mean, it's a difficult question, right? I think it's
obviously it's going to be a draw, 1-1.
I think a draw is the most likely result.
I think they cancel each other out.
And
I don't believe that at all because Liverpool will be out starters. Alisson is out, right? That's one of the top goalkeepers in the league, right?
Yeah.
But
Trent is out as well.
He's a good
right?
keeper,
Kelleher might be good, but you're not going to tell me that Kelleher.
He's Irish, Gary. Yes, I'm going to tell you.
Kelleher is at the level.
He's an Irish goalkeeper.
So it's a step back. So if you look at where the levels where they might be, it's taking a dip when you drop your number 1 goalkeeper. So that's going to be the key there, right? I think Trent is out as well.
Trent is out, but they got Bradley.
Trent is out as well, but once again, Bradley is a better defender, some will say, but offensively, in a game like this where you have one-offs and the ball is being put in a cross, who's the better player to do that? And that's what you need once in a while. So City is healthy. They don't have any missing players going into this game, so I find it hard to say, oh, it's going to be equal. It's where are they playing this at?
Anfield.
Anfield. So that's going to have a little bit of help there, but they're also playing one of the best teams in the world who seems to be on a roll, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even if you hold them down for 80 minutes, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They can still put one on you, right? So I kind of feel like I think we're City is a much better team than Liverpool is in terms of the quality of play that they have, right? And Salah, will he be able to play? Because he didn't play in this one, right? So I don't know if he'll be back. So you're telling me you're going to miss Salah, you're going to miss Trent, you're going to miss Allison, and you're telling me it's still an equal playing field? I don't believe that at all. I can't see that one. That just the math isn't adding up for me there.
Yeah.
Right.
What?
I mean,
Ray, why are you going against your 1B club?
3-1, right? So I kind of feel like, you know what? Yeah, I would love for Liverpool to be able to get that win. I find it hard to see it without a strong team being played by Liverpool. Right? I know they've been able to get by a lot of these teams, but I don't think Nottingham Forest, a late win against Nottingham Forest, doesn't matter where they're playing, then turns around and says we're going to play against City and get a better result, right? A better result because they should have. Most people would have thought they would have beaten Nottingham Forest by 2-3 goals easily, right? Because that's where they stand in the league, but they didn't. So now they're going to try and go 180 degrees and be able to at least get a draw against a City team who seems to be playing pretty well when they're clicking, right? And they're not gonna. Are they gonna sit back and play the same style as a Nottingham Forest? I don't think so.
No, they're going to go at him.
So they're going to try to go at him, and that's when the game opens up a bit. So
there's one point between the two teams. Liverpool have drawn one more game than City have, and City have lost one more game than Liverpool have. So you're right, Gary. Injuries to Liverpool will be a tricky thing to overcome. Mo Salah will definitely need some minutes if he's going to play any games in that. Szoboszlai came back. Kelleher is a decent goalkeeper. He's not the caliber of Allison. True, albeit an Irish player. But what was I going to say? Liverpool and City. Man City have an easy game at home to Copenhagen in midweek, and Liverpool have to go to Sparta Prague and travel for an away game in the Europa League before this game happens on Sunday. So that'll be another slight advantage to Man City, who are already pretty well placed in the after the first game against Copenhagen. So how do you see it turning out, Stan? And then I'll get to Tony and Lawrence.
Well,
it's difficult to judge.
It took Liverpool quite a while, really, to take care of Forest yesterday.
Yeah,
they didn't make easy work of it like you would expect them to do. So I'm a little bit on Gary's side here that I don't think it's just going to be a draw and a tight game at all. I think Liverpool could find themselves being humbled if they're not careful. A lot of key players are out. They're winning games, but they're kind of like, they're looking a little bit like, skin of their teeth a little bit. So yeah, I think they're going to find. I think they could find themselves in trouble at City.
Yeah, I think they've been hanging on a little bit with the play of Virgil van Dijk at the back, Bradley at the back, maybe Robertson. We're going to find out if a true premium number 6 means anything in this league as well, because Arsenal have arguably Declan Rice as your 6. Sure, we can argue that, right? Rodri is City's number 6, and they bought a player called Endo that nobody knew about at the beginning of the season when Caicedo did an about turn and went to Chelsea. So, Lawrence, how do you see the respective teams, Liverpool and City, stacking up? City going on that run. Arsenal are closer to City than they are to Liverpool right now in the league?
Well, I've got to disagree with Gary and Stan because Man City never do well up at Liverpool. I don't know how long it's been since they won there, but I just think I think each team's going to cancel the other out, and it's going to end up 1-1.
That would be the best result for us.
We all said this also about when they went and played in North London, right? They never seemed to be able to get something out of that, and they were able to overcome that this season. So I don't.
Yeah,
that's where I'm like, yes, they've been able to compete and struggle there, but we're talking about, like, for me, fine margins now. I mean, you're missing little pieces here and there, right? But you saw the difference between Arsenal when they had a healthy Partey, right, and when they didn't have a healthy Partey towards the end of the season last season, right?
Yeah.
And for me, that's all it takes. If Salah's not say Salah does come back, he's not 100% when he comes back, anyways. So if Trent comes back, do they get the same out of him? I know they have other. They're going to have to play against their typical style because they don't have those players and they can't take the risk, right? They can't take the risk of losing badly there.
Yeah,
Gary
I just feel like
of doing well with these players that don't get to play much. A lot of them are academy, so they're trying harder not to make mistakes. So I don't see that being part of it. To me, what to be interesting on this, or for all of you, are the players playing harder for Klopp, or are they not giving it as much because they're uncertain who their managers will be? A lot of them kind of thinking about leaving because they don't know who their managers will be.
Have they lost?
They have a chance of winning the league.
Have they lost since he said he's leaving?
To us.
To us, yeah.
No, I'm just saying.
We're one of the we're like the best team, I believe, on form, not the form table, on form.
Yeah,
we are
both
the best team right now, right? So you have to be an Arsenal level on form to beat a Liverpool team who hasn't lost outside of Arsenal, right? So, like I said, that's where I. Next up behind that is either Liverpool or City. You pick one. I don't know. I just think KDB and Rodri makes a big difference in this game. And I don't think Liverpool has any answers for either one of those players. And then Foden, on top of that, where does Liverpool make a difference in those type of, especially in the attacking area? They don't have that. Like, is anybody thinking that Darwin's going to get a header like that late in the game against a City team with that backline that they have?
No,
I don't see that's happening. And if Rodri's the player that in a sub-step ball on the 18 in a game like that, he just takes it out of there or boots it clear. That's kind of what I would think would happen. So I want things to happen, but we just saw what happened this week. This was, if teams were going to drop points, it was going to happen this week because every team had an opportunity to drop and lose games, even drop points. It didn't happen, right? Everybody was laughing at Chelsea, thinking Chelsea was going to lose. Didn't happen. City struggled for a bit, finished them off. Liverpool could have had a draw, didn't do it, right? I mean, everything went. The better team won. And that's kind of, Arsenal needs to be continue to be one of the better teams and get the win tomorrow. So I kind of
wasn't so much
kind of wishing for things to happen, but I think for me, we just need to win our games. The goal has to be to win out.
Wasn't so much Chelsea lost; they surrendered last week in the final.
Yeah. Horrendous. Conor Gallagher couldn't score against Kelleher, and he turns up in this game and scores, right?
Yeah,
Gallagher.
Yeah.
And, what's going on with Poch? Will he last till the end of the season? I would think so. That Chelsea project, Todd Bowley is going to stick with it. At least he has publicly said that he would stick with it moving forward. But it'll be interesting to see what happens at Chelsea
some point,
as well.
they're going to have to give a manager a bit of time.
Yeah.
And they need to give time and actually a little bit of authority to that manager as well. I mean, they don't seem to be doing either. They're not getting enough time, and they have no control over their team. So, if they want to keep doing that, cool. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. So that's.
They've got good players. They've got good players that have gone to their club, but that again, as Stan was saying about Man United, you can have a good manager, but you need to get all of the ducks lined up. All of the players have to be bought into what you're doing as well, and you have to have the structure behind the scenes. I think Man United have just pivoted to a new director of football as well. We were talking about the Newcastle guy coming in, but I think I heard Ornstein talking about somebody else this morning. Moss, he was outside in the snowblood back alley, so car could get out. The snowbank's higher than cars, and almost stuck a few times. We're back now, LOL. And it's 60 degrees here. Happy there's no snow over this side where we're at on the East Coast here. So much snow. Give me England and rain, I guess, Wednesday there, and it will be sunny over there perhaps. So Moss is headed over to see a game as well. After this and the match, 81 degrees in Oki. Smash the thumbs. Yes, please. Smash the thumbs if you're here. Thank you very much. And
what happened? Did we?
All right.
No. I think Ray lost his mic for a second.
So listen, Tony, how do you enjoy this football stress? We're going to get out of here in a few minutes, but I just want to know how you're dealing with this stress of watching football, hoping for things that are nearly impossible. Liverpool dropping points and City dropping points, Tony.
Well, I've been praying to Jesus for Jesus not to come back
in Easter. Okay, that's what we're going.
I think I'm gonna be. So far, I haven't been nervous, but when Partey and Jesus start playing the games, Trossard goes to the bench, I'm gonna be a little scared because we were not getting these 4, 5, 6 goals a game with Jesus in there. So I don't think we should change anything. It isn't broke. It's been working. I just hope stubborn Arteta isn't back to his old ways of, oh, here's my buddy. Let's put him back in the game because I don't like it, Ray. But as far as the answer, I just try not to stress over it because I'm used since probably 2011 that we're probably not going to do very good.
Mm-hmm.
It's been since Van Persie was whistled offside or not listening to the ref. That was the most ridiculous call I've ever heard. Because on the TV you could hear it, and as loud as it is in stadium in person, you definitely could hear that whistle.
Yeah. Hearing Tony talking about players such as Gabriel Jesus makes me think about players in our squad who have the worst kind of availability, which is availability. And some of our squad were very deficient in the ability of being available. But that's probably a discussion for another time. Lawrence, how are you feeling about tomorrow? Are you confident that we can beat Sheffield United up there?
I wouldn't say confident. I've been down this road too many times. We should win by a cricket score, but knowing Arsenal, it might be a scrappy 1-0, which I'm not too thrilled about because, as I said before, we've got to carry on where we've left off and put away teams like Sheffield United as I said, if we don't win by 4 or 5-0, I won't be too thrilled, because after what happened today, we need to boost the goal difference.
Yep.
Because as I said before, goal difference could come into this at the end of the season.
Yeah.
So it's imperative we improve our goal difference, because both City and Liverpool can easily get 4, 5, 6 goals against anyone if they set their minds to it. So I'm just going to say I hope we get a cricket score, but it wouldn't surprise me if we scrap to 1-0.
Yeah, Stan, how are you feeling about tomorrow? And not even really going to go into much detail. It's the team at the bottom of the league, and we should be talking about 3 points here.
Well, I don't get to see the game tomorrow because it's coming on lunchtime. I'll be at work, so I don't get
Me
to see
too.
it live.
Yeah.
But I'm not really that concerned about it. If I switch my phone on and I see that we've lost the game, then, as I say, I will probably see that it's down to some sort of an error by us or something like that, or some sort of refereeing. But even if even if they were to get a penalty in the first 5 minutes, it still shouldn't be able to change a result against them, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
If our full string striker, Eddie Nketiah, can get a hat-trick against them, so it should be game on, right?
Yeah, Eddie's probably lacing up his boots. Eddie's probably lacing up his boots right now. Yeah.
Dan, Tony could get a hat-trick against Sheffield United.
There you go.
There you go. Listen, as you said, Stan, I won't see the game either. I'll be at work, but you have to be confident, even if we go a goal down after 5 minutes due to a deflection or a penalty, that we have enough in this team to overcome that by scoring 3, 4, 5 goals. And that's how I feel about it. As Gary said, just win the next game, and that's all we can do. So, Stan, Tony, Lawrence, thanks for joining. I'll give Gary the final word here, and we'll get out of here and go. Gary, I'll have a podcast tomorrow evening, probably reviewing the game as well.
That's nothing. I'm going to podcast in an hour, so.
Well, there you go. See, busy man. Yeah. So Arsenal just continue the form. Like the one thing I've always said is that Arteta needs to just make sure whoever 11 he puts out there that he gets what he wants out of it, and not just favoritism shouldn't play into any of that. It should be based on the abilities and form of your players. So hopefully that's what we see again. I don't expect we should have any changes from the last game because everybody's had more than enough time to rest up for this one, right? It's been
8 or 9 days.
It's been a long time for some of them. So let them continue to play. That's going to be our first 11 for a bit. So I expect to see the similar performance we had before. As Lawrence said, it'd be nice to finish off a game basically at halftime and be able to bring some people in at halftime. That's going to be that's when I know how the game's going, if we're able to bring somebody in at halftime, because we should have sorted at that point, and then get out of there with limited issues. So go on Arsenal. Good, 3 points for sure, but we need to maintain this level of form so that when we go into games later in the season, we're not seeing a dip at the wrong time. So we'll see what Arteta does. Hopefully he doesn't overthink this thing. It should be if he overthinks it, then you'll see something crazy tomorrow, and then you'll see a dip in the form of the team, which I'm hoping not. So, come on, 3 points, and then move on to the next one. So,
You can't overthink it. You go out there, you win the game, you go home, and you get ready for Brentford on the weekend, right? So it's as easy as that, right? It's Sheffield United, team at the bottom of the league. So thanks for being here, everybody. We will catch you on Thursday, and Gary will be, like I said, reviewing on tomorrow. Stan, did you say you're doing something in an hour from now, or?
Yeah, I'm going to be on with Danny in an hour's time.
Wonderland?
Over on a Bergkamp Wonderland, and that'll just be a very quick preview over there for tomorrow's game as well.
Sweet. Okay.
So basically, you just did me say exactly the same thing, but without Tony's interruptions.
Yes. Tony, thanks. Take care, Tony. Lawrence, good to have you. Stan, Gary, likewise. Right here.
I'll
Come
try
on,
not to bleed to death, Ray.
don't do that. And get yourself another quart somewhere, Tony. From the basement, probably. Take care. Come on, you Gooners, everybody. And we'll see you on the next one.